Hey everybody, my name is David Falcon, and today I'm going to be talking about J.G. Machen and his fundamentalist views. So, J.G. Machen was a fundamentalist who was one of the most well-known and influential people of this time period, which was the 1900s. Machen was a New Testament scholar and a professor of New Testament at Princeton Seminary between 1906 and 1929. What you might be asking yourself is, how is he a professor at Princeton, but also a fundamentalist at the same time? Those two usually don't go hand in hand. So Machen was a frequent speaker before men's associations, and the popularity of his writings began to rise, especially in the United States, Britain, and Canada. And this just shows his commitment to his passions and what he cared about. He was also described in a newspaper as being in foreign service at the YMCA during the First World War. So multiple factors, such as his educational and his theological background, had many questioning how Machen found himself on the fundamentalist side of things. But there he was. A typical fundamentalist was against academia and elite intellectualism. This was obviously the complete opposite of what Machen was, as he was a professor at a prestigious university and was always striving for more knowledge. He was a lifelong learner, which is seen throughout his career and his own writings. Fundamentalists were oftentimes very conservative in their views and rhetoric, and they were also usually part of the Republican Party. That would be obviously because the Republican Party is more conservative in its views and its values, as the Democrat Party is more liberal. And Machen found himself on the Democrat side of things, which, again, very unusual for someone who would be defined or looked at as a fundamentalist. So Machen was a longtime member of the Democratic Party, and was very against liberalism when it came to Christianity. He goes into great detail in his book, Christianity and Liberalism. Christianity and liberalism is regularly looked upon as the best and most popular argument produced by either side. And in Christianity and liberalism, he called dispensationalism a false method of interpreting scripture. And throughout the 1920s, he refused to join the World Christian Fundamentals Association because of its doctrinal platform that included a dispensationalist plank. He believed that liberalism had emptied the gospel message so much that he said it was no longer Christian. Now think about it. A liberal man is saying that it just drained Christianity, that it no longer was Christianity. So, by misconstruing the spheres of church and state, he believed that the liberal Protestants had become intolerant about socio-political matters while simultaneously becoming indifferent about the teachings of the church. Although Machen was against liberalism and Christianity, he had no patience for the most visible teachings of popular fundamentalism. So he wasn't fully for it, but at the core of everything, he was a fundamentalist on the most important arguments. So Machen's arguments made to the public were learned and scholarly, emphasizing doctrinal precision rather than emotive, crowd-driven appeals, which is seen from other speakers during this time. When just looking at his background and the walk of life that he was coming from, one would assume that he would be pro-liberalism. Instead, he's one of the most popular fundamentalists and one of the most accomplished ever. Going back to his book, Christianity and Liberalism, his claim of liberalism being anti-Christian is concrete evidence that he was indeed a fundamentalist and nothing else when it came to this argument. The central argument of that book was to show that Christianity and liberalism were two entirely different religions, and I think he did that perfectly. And then just looking at his popularity among everybody. It didn't matter what denomination you were. It didn't matter what walk of life you came from. You would look to him for knowledge and for answers on what people were saying, what people were thinking. And this was seen at the end of his life, where he was a very well-revered, and at his burial, you see that the number of people who showed up were more than 800 laymen and clergymen from all denominations. And this just shows how great of a man he really was, and how his commitment to excellence and knowledge just brought more people to him and brought more learners to him who want to know more about what was going on. So this is my video about J.G. Machen, and I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great rest of your semester. Bye.